Can the super rich supercharge zero-emission aviation? What's your take on that?
The short answer is yes, they can supercharge zero-emission aviation. So two things come out of this report. The first is that private jets really are the worst mode of transport environmentally, but they're also the best mode of transport to decarbonise quickly. The UK has real responsibility here. One thing that I wasn't aware of is that 20% of European private jet emissions are generated by UK jets, which is why the UK government should introduce policies that encourage the sector to aim to be the first aviation segment to fully decarbonise itself, initially by policies that encourage it to, but then finally by policies that demand it does, by introducing a ban from a certain date, ideally from something like 2030. Let me elaborate further on that. So why is it the worst mode of transport? So on a 4-hour private jet flight, that emits the same amount as the annual emissions of an average European, which is massive. Bizarrely though, an alternative commercial flight exists for 72% of private flights. Indeed, 3 of the top 10 flight pairs, so city pairs, are from London to Paris, and you can catch the Eurostar for that. It takes 2 hours, 20 minutes, and it's really comfortable. Equally bizarrely is that private jets are used quite inefficiently, and 41% of private flights are empty. They're going to pick someone up, and nearly half of them are less than 500 kilometers in length, so can easily be taken by a car or a train. Perhaps the major problem, though, is this segment is growing. Overall, over the last 15 years, CO2 emissions from the segment have increased by 15%. By nearly a third, sorry, got that stat wrong. I mentioned that it's the best place to decarbonise, though. So the average private jet owner has a wealth of 1.3 billion euros. Many of these owners are business leaders, and they can also be technology leaders, and they can help to accelerate the innovation and therefore clean innovation needed and clean flying for everyone. And for many of these individuals, it can be a bit of a Tesla moment. Leadership counts. But remember, we're in the UK, and the UK has grand ambitions. Boris Johnson's stated aim is to fly across the Atlantic in a zero-emission aircraft. To do that, he's got to have a commercial place that is going to buy aircraft that are developed in the UK. It would be great if the UK became the global centre for zero-emission aircraft development. But above all, take a step back. The UK is already headed towards a net zero system. Private jets will have to be part of that too. So the segment may as well get on and decarbonise itself.
I would like to ask you a question. The UK will organise COP26 in November in Glasgow. Isn't it crazy to see the UK dominating this list of the biggest emitters from specific private jet market?
I mean, it's crazy, but it's how it is. It's actually the UK, France, and Switzerland dominating in Europe.
Why do you think it's happening? Why do you think that it is happening in the UK? I mean, the UK dominates the private jet market with flights emitting more carbon dioxide than 20 other European countries combined. So why do you think it is happening?
A few answers for that. So firstly, it shouldn't be forgotten that we are an island on the northern edge of Europe. And actually, in terms of general aviation, we have an oversize effect. Brits fly far more on commercial aircraft, not just private jets, than other nations. In fact, overall, we're the third highest emitting aviation nation behind the USA and China. So this is just an extension of that. But it's a problem, it's a growing problem, and it's something that we need to do something about, but it's a segment that can do something about it because the amount of money sloshing around that segment.
Which are the main polluting routes for the private jet market in the UK, departing from the, all these flights departing from the UK?
So it's a couple of smaller airports. Farnborough and Luton are the big two, and Biggin Hill is a third one as well in Kent. Surprisingly though, they tend to fly to the same places. So Paris, Geneva are the big two. And Nice is the third one. And between Paris and Nice and Paris and Geneva and Nice and Geneva are the other big flights. So in actual fact, it's only 4 cities that are a big part of this problem. It's not an overall European problem or British problem. It's 4 individual cities.
My last question for you is, what do you think is needed to tackle this carbon footprint, this major carbon footprint created by private jet market?
So this is where, for me, the government should step in and start introducing policies. And like I say, I think there's 2 ways to go around this. The first is to introduce carrot policies, try and encourage the sector to start decarbonising itself, to start encouraging very high net worth individuals to look into zero emission aircraft with a view to eventually buying them. But then they should also announce the stick is coming. There needs to be, at some point in the future, a ban on private jets that are not zero emission jets.